All right, William, what do you have for me today? Looks like you've got my toolkit here and the Microtech MSI. Looks like you want me to do a video disassembling the Microtech. So that is what we're going to do today. Yep, that what you want? That's the one, isn't it? Good job. I am disassembling the Microtech MSI. So we're going to jump right into it. I have not taken this apart before. We're going to disassemble. We're going to talk about the engineering involved. So first I'm going to take off this pocket clip, because there's an interesting design here with the pocket clip. They've actually sliced out the steel on each half of that pocket clip, and there's a reason for that. The reason for that is that there's a plate on the inside of this knife where the pocket clip bolts into, and if you take out both the bolts, the plate falls down out of the knife, and it is a pain to get that pocket clip back in. So the way you adjust the pocket clip or take it off is you remove one bolt all the way from that pocket clip, and then you remove the other one about halfway so the plate doesn't fall off, and then the pocket clip pivots off like that. So now my plate is secured on the inside, and I don't have to take that all the way off so that it doesn't fall off on me. So that's kind of cool. I like that feature. That was a good design. Let's take out the pivot bolt first and see what's going on with the pivot. Pivot bolt is a T20, which is awesome because you can get one of those at any hardware store and remove or tighten your pivot bolt very easily. Don't have to get special tools, which is wonderful. Those are steel bolts. I'm putting that in my tray there. I'm going to try to pop out the pivot bolt right away and just see what happens. Okay, so that's in there very tight. We'll take out the other bolts and see what's stopping that. I haven't, like I said, I have not taken this apart yet. I am excited to do so. So far, what I am running into are steel bolts. They are not titanium. However, this back spacer is titanium. That is information available on Microtech's website. Those bolts appear to be the same, so you don't have to worry about mixing them up, which is good. I like things that are a little bit more idiot-proof. All right, so this is really, really cool because on this knife, you can take off the scale. Oh, that's interesting. So the Ramlock has internal bolts that hold the stop pin and the Ramlock in that also hold the metal liner on. So let's take those off too. Kind of an interesting way to do it. Definitely holds things more securely. So what I was going to say is that it appears that unlike an axis lock knife, you can take everything off of one side of this knife and you can get the blade out without disassembling the entire knife. With an axis lock knife, you actually have to take everything off, and sometimes including the pocket clip, just to get the knife apart. And this does not appear to be that way. Right now I'm just popping up this plate. Things fit very tightly on here. I'm going to wedge that apart. There we go. Take the tension off the Ramlock, and there is our plate. So you can see I have disassembled half of that knife, and you can see how the Ramlock works without having to take out everything. I love the size and shape of bearings they've done there. That's a very large, very sturdy configuration to the bearings. Let me see if I can get the blade off. It fits extremely tightly. So what I'm not sure about is how much metal they've removed from the blade to get the bearings in there. I'm not a big fan of designs that reduce the thickness of the blade just to get the bearings in there. This one, you can see it appears they've left a little more than half the thickness of that blade. It's still pretty thick, as you can see in there. You know, that's kind of the thickness that you're looking at. I don't have my calipers with me on the blade, but that's, you know, decently thick amount of metal still on the blade. But it does weaken it a little bit to recess the bearings just into the blade like that. Not hugely on this one because there's so much metal there to begin with, but like I said, not necessarily a choice that I would have made if I were designing this knife. There's the Ramlock. It just kind of slides over that pin, slides into here like a piston. Coil spring does come off. I'm not going to take it all the way off because it's not dirty. I don't need to clean it and I don't want to lose it. Well, I guess I will, just for the video. There we go. So very simple, very effective locking mechanism. Like that a lot. There's the ramp channel in it. You know, as simple as it is, it's just wonderful to see that kind of design and simplicity. So this is a nut that's on 2 bolts, and this is not going to turn. It's D-shaped, so it's captured, which means if I want to get this half of the knife apart, I have to take out this side of the bolt, and it is they have Loctited the heck out of that side. So there's the pivot bolt on this side. Got it. And then there's the actual pivot. It has sunk down in there. I'll get that out last. We'll get these other ones first so that I can get that a bit easier. So here's the other spacer bolts. There's the plate on the back side for the pocket clip. You can see that if I were to take this bolt all the way out, you can see that plate will, it doesn't pop out too easily. So you guess you don't have to be too scared about taking that pocket clip off of there. I figured it would just pop right out. I'm not going to force it because I don't want to injure the G10, but it doesn't come out easily. Here's the other bolts here. And there's the titanium back spacer. Then that comes apart. That pivot is really, really stuck in there. I'm putting the bolt back in just so I can use it to help pop that pivot out like that. There we go. And then I have to remove it again. So pivot is a bit of a pain to get out. There it is. It's a larger than normal pivot. That's not your standard standard pivot size. And there we are down to our last couple of bolts. T8s on the stop pin. Let's see if they've keyed this. Okay, so they have made this a kind of a oblong stop pin, so you can flip it like this and you can reverse the side of the stop pin. So once your knife has opened enough to create enough of those flats that it wears, you can flip it and then wear the other side, but you cannot rotate it continuously and utilize all the surface area. Again, something I wouldn't necessarily have done, but that is what they have done with it. Here is the last bolt. There's the Ramlock piece that it pivots around. So that is how you disassemble your Microtech MSI. All of this is fantastically engineered, right? The Ramlock is a solid hunk of steel. The side plates are long enough that they go down to be bolted to the back spacer. Back spacer is kind of skeletonized, so it's sturdy enough while still being light. You know, everything is just kind of very well done here. Again, I wouldn't have made this decision. I would say that's kind of the one thing I don't like about the internals on this knife. But everything else is just wonderfully done. So no real qualms about the engineering of this knife, except for the the finger choil, like I said. So overall, just a very sturdy build, very well engineered knife in there. Hopefully that is helpful. Like I said, like, subscribe, do all the YouTube stuff, and have a nice day.